First time ever I saw this one pull up and go, nope, and reset. First time I ever saw him do that.
There's a lot of firsts on that.
Yeah, she went to pull for us, so we brought her up. We had a harness, so and they got the line got caught in the.
I think we should plan on keeping Wednesday's practice, even if we're not sailing. Just to have 4 hands on the boat for a couple hours would not be a bad idea.
And we're like cranking down on this ratchet.
Honestly, because it was nice weather, I wouldn't mind.
So we decided instead of pulling down, we're just gonna send her up with a pocket knife.
Wow.
So
I'm trying to figure out how to rig up a speaker pole,
halyards onto her. I'm on one side of the winch. She's
like
on the
kind
other
of on a
winch.
mock mast or something to show BJ that.
Should we just jump over to another stand one?
Oh yeah. Just around the mast then instead of like a good big bowl.
Like it's Obi's? Obi's in the water, right? Oh no, Obi left. Jeez, I'm sorry. I think I blocked that out because it was so mentally scarring.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah. And then someone didn't make sure the lines were in the right place before they went up, so we were up there with like not.
It was kind of my fault.
Get them in the right spot.
To the halyard,
I
we had
introduced
at one
them.
point a drill, then deadfall hammer. The
Don't
deadfall
take-
hammer
don't take
and
the blame for
the
that.
old
That's my-
brace
Radar dish.
radar for the radar barrier, for the radar. We had that all strapped to it so that he could like wing it in circles so it would spin around and then he'd bring it up and then it would like
Twist the
unwrap
line
itself
so that it
finally.
would unwrap through the loop and come down the way.
Because at this point, the stays were all in, the sun's going down, the electrical lines were hooked up, we were out of options.
Did I get the lines where it needed to go?
Oh my god.
I know that you weren't digging it,
That's all
but
you care about.
that conversation with EJ was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, I get the lines where they needed to
I
go.
appreciated that
And
she
you got
was
B, and he doesn't care if you're
jumping right in.
You got
I was like watching TV, and it was like I was seeing it come in, but then it was just like, and my watch, it was my watch. My watch was going off, and I just took my watch off and threw it in my bedroom.
This man's on Z, and always want to see.
Don't worry, I'll come back. We'll get there.
So taking the mast down was a lot.
I know it's a smartwatch, but it's not an Apple Watch, is it?
No, it's a Garmin. Nice.
Oh. What do you use it for?
Running.
Oh. Because on Apple Watch you can put like do not disturb, you know?
Is everybody done with the grill?
It's not a
I
big
guess so.
Yeah.
It seems like it, huh?
The dock, like, my butthole puckered.
Yeah, oh, I know. Because once again, I never see you pull off the gas so fast. Like, and then I was down there looking at it, I'm like, yeah, it looks alright. I'm running my hand across, and he's like, I really want to see it. And I was like, alright, man, come on over here. Like, I'll go steer. You go look at it.
We ricocheted off.
It was very much a bounce, but thankfully the wood was very soft in the corner, and it just kind of absorbed the impact, I think.
Yeah, we're good.
No. It's funny because he was immediately calling you to assure you, but at that point I think you were already so cold, you were like, whatever, they're fine. Like,
I mean, I looked at for a while after, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, we're still going.
Oh no, we were going no matter what.
Bill,
But I didn't see the mark on the boat.
No. He would have leaned over on one side and put duct tape.
Yeah.
We were going.
Pump.
We'd have been pumping, but we would have gotten here.
So I got the bill back from Anacortes. It was a whole $25 for the entire 3-night stay we were there. That's it.
Yep, that means that the third night we didn't pay anything.
Absolutely.
And the $25 was from all the times we used the
It was 20, and actually they didn't even hit us for every one. Because remember the first night we hit it twice.
No, we only hit it once the first night.
Are you sure? I thought we hit it.
We hit it twice.
No, we hit it twice because we started it early because I was like, screw it, I'll pay an extra $5 if it takes a little longer. No big deal. And then the second night we cracked it 3 times. I'm pretty sure. 4?
Yeah.
So they didn't even pay us. They didn't make us pay for the first night then. I mean, because there was only $20 on that for uses of the crane.
Yeah, they're really generous.
Oh yeah, they were very nice. So we'll definitely be heading back in for us sometime soon to utilize the facilities more. They're nice over there.
Hopefully it's another 15 years for me.
Also, I want to hit what's that place on the Sonoma Channel? That little like township right there in the middle.
Latitude.
Yeah.
Latitude.
I ordered a Wildcat sailing visor.
Nice.
Oh, Shelter Cove.
We can match. I
I
got one too. What color did you go with? Yep, me too.
Nike?
I know. I kind of cheap one. Yeah.
oh man, we definitely.
I think UJ's got a visor too, so we can
Yeah.
all wear our
Oh,
white
cool.
visors.
We hit that corner the right way after all the green.
I've actually specifically been looking for a new white visor.
We've
So.
navigated that both directions, one during low tide.
I'm trying to make my we're winning going into Sunday look the most ridiculous I
I
can.
have never.
I'm gonna go buy a tutu tomorrow because I think we'll be because the Ballard schools dropped out of this weekend's regatta.
Oh.
So
I mean, it's enough.
I would be disappointed if we weren't winning after Saturday this weekend. But I think the white visor with my American flag sunglasses and a tutu going into Sunday at a regatta, that might be the look. The question is, does a tutu carry over to keelboat racing?
Yeah.
Like if we're winning after Saturday, do I wear a tutu
I
on
think
Sunday?
that's a good idea.
I do too.
Why does
Answer's
it
yes.
very blue right here? And you're like, because there's a sandbar where it
So,
comes up
do you like
almost
going
right
for the
underneath
Connor?
it.
Yeah.
How many emails have you sent to the party circuit?
When was that?
A couple, 2 or 3, I think. They've been a little bit spread out, but there's not doesn't seem to be one person.
That's what I was gonna say. It's just a group of people.
Yeah, well, I haven't been connected to any of the official emails. Dave has always like replied with my email attached and been like, "Hey, I'm not involved anymore. This is the new person," and then that's the last email on that thread. Like every time, I'm like, "Oh,
They just removed Dave.
yeah." They just removed O'Carver altogether.
Yeah, we never worry about it.
I have an idea for round midby.
Okay.
I think we should make a video from the race. And I think a big part of that, we should get everyone to do a midnight party
Mm-hmm.
and film it, and then we stitch all of that together.
Yes, and that can be like the middle part of the.
Yeah.
I love that
Music
idea.
video.
That sounds fantastic.
Did you say you have a GoPro?
I do. Like one of the, maybe like the second versions or something. but
Honestly,
yeah.
they're all pretty good. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember.
Do you want me?
I think I remember putting it like
I will.
a large SD card in it or something, like a 10 gig, and it was like, no.
By me.
Like it only will take like
That is funny when that
512
happens.
megabytes or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it'll fit in there, but like it was like no, like it's,
I don't understand.
yeah.
That's Y2K right there.
Mhm. Mhm.
I do love when technology just says no.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even tell you why. It's like,
Yeah, like, no, I don't
doesn't
do
work.
that.
It doesn't even throw an error code sometimes. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
It's like an electrician going, "Hey, I'm here to change your light bulb," and "Oh, hey, can you fix my outlet?"
No.
No, I don't do that.
Robotic competition.
That is so cool.
It's only Dave and Emily so far. So whenever
Dave
you're
and Emily,
Dave.
Dave
Do you want me to start
Steckman.
with?
Steckman.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No. I mean, don't be in a hurry. But
Well, I have a nephew, second grade.
So good. Which one is not, but.
No, Lewis.
2 minutes.
Really? Why would we just spiteful?
don't kill yourself.
What?
Don't kill yourself.
Oh, you think we're joking? That Matt,
You know,
the one that's right there?
those little bags of chips would be nice for a distance race.
That's true.
Computer stuff. Just-
You could eat. I mean, you could have one of those on the rail.
Yeah. We usually get like some big bags of chips,
Mm.
and one we don't finish them, and two like what are you gonna do?
And they're gonna say someone's gonna leave them open at some point. It's gonna be
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's gonna get moist.
When you play
Yep,
basketball,
yep.
you're always gonna get it.
I am very excited for round week. It's gonna be.
Mm.
It's gonna be a good time.
That shows that we are old.
No, you're not.
I just think computer.
What are we gonna do when Anna comes back?
Did you?
Really?
Computer class?
I mean, we sailed with 5 a lot last year.
Yeah.
A TRS-80 is really good.
Cool.
Probably not for distance races.
In high school, we had the Apple.
We talked about
computer, and I-
having
the
Anna
coolest
be
thing
our
was
distance race.
The Oregon Trail.
For it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oregon Trail.
Because I don't think.
And we're like,
Well, we only do what,
"Oh,
2
we're
distance
ready for
races?
these things."
Really? Maybe another one every once in a while, but those are like a day race.
Orcas.
So, and that's a little less.
It's a day race.
That's more of a buoy
But
race
it's,
format.
Sleep on the boat.
That's true.
But it doesn't have to be, right? Because
Right.
we end at. I mean, someone could go home that night if they needed to.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Like Anna took the ferry out. You could, in theory, take the ferry out through the race, take the ferry back.
Oh, I don't think that'll be an issue. But I think EJ and I will be racing, high school racing, that day for that weekend. So. And Anna will probably be coaching, so that might be a. You guys might be having to find proof for that.
3 is a good number for that race. Oh, you're gonna be.
Are we? Okay. Yeah.
So it could just be the 2 of us.
So we'd be pretty good at that.
Yeah.
You should get one big guy to sit on the rail.
He was faster on slide rules than the guys were trying.
Like who?
I don't know. Somebody.
Like, because you feel like we need rail knees?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could get hairy. It's the San Juans, so.
I was thinking my goal for this year is to downsize sail sooner.
Yep.
If it means doing more sail changes,
Well, we should never be on our number 1 when we can do whole speed in our number 2. There's no point.
What I really
It's
want to do?
harder to attack with the number 1. Even.
I want to learn. I actually want to downsize too soon
Yeah.
and learn
Yep.
where the wrong place to do it is.
it's not that bad.
No. Well, what I want to, well, frankly, I want to do some crazy stuff. Like I want a Thursday night where it's like 8 to 10, and run our blade, so that we can learn how to sail our blade when the wind goes to 0, and we don't have time to change our head sail before the windward mark.
Or
Right?
for like the minute while you're getting the number 1 out.
Yeah. I'd also like to try some head sail changes because I've never done a head sail change on this boat before. So, and we're gonna have a new 4-decker, mostly. So we should break her in on head sail changes. Like when we do our practice, we should bring 2 head sails and do a head sail change.
No. Oh, I want to fix the number 3 because it's just missing a bat.
Is that the blade?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a ton of bad material.
Yeah.
I have some. I have like 20 feet of it for the star that I only need like 5 feet for because I lost 1 bat. And then the shed has a bunch of miscellaneous dinghy battens, and we own none of the dinghies they go to anymore. So.
Yeah. I just need to put a new pocket on because it just blew out.
Do we know when that happened, or did it just kind of
It's
go?
like a long time ago. Like
Oh, fun. All right, I'm gonna unmute you.
I didn't set up the mic.
Hi, everybody.
Hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Repeated phone call.
Do you mean to answer for you?
He looks like this without the beard.
We'll be starting momentarily. Gabe's gonna start things.
Do we need a micro? I can hear.
Can I jump in, Sean?
Yeah, go for it.
This is unabashed.
These are the
Flaming. This is the preamble. So myself, Larry, Sean, and Gabe, we're all actually happen to be on the board of Oak Harbor Youth Sailing.
I wear it almost every week, so they see.
Oak Harbor Youth Sailing is actually the overriding sponsorship organization for Wildcat Sailing. So all those boats down there that the high school sail on is also part of Oak Harbor Youth Sailing. Those kids are high school kids that, quite frankly, many of them are racing against you. Ooh, does it work? Racing against you on Thursday nights because they're all out here on the boats. Anyway, once a year we have, we're a 501(c) nonprofit organization, and every year we have a fundraising drive, and this happens to be it. Our little brochure is back there that says Oak Harbor Youth Sailing, learn to sail or have fun sailing for the kids, but we sponsor a lot of other things, including the Wildcat team. These just happen to be some remittance envelopes, which is a fancy word for donors. If you want to, if you feel so appropriate, if you want to put your name on here and whatever you feel is appropriate, we would gladly accept it. Not only that, once we have your name, most of our fundraising effort is actually via emails. So if we have your email address, we send out notifications of things we're doing. We send out the little videos of all the kids sailing around the marina during the summertime. It's a really kick. They're a lot of fun. So I'm just here hacking for Oak Harbor Youth Sailing. A great program. That includes you, Dave.
Awesome. Send money from Hawaii.
Thank you, Larry. So this is our last week of chalk talks and strategy talks and all that. So, and then next week, preseason meeting. The following week, we're racing. So very exciting stuff. Gabe keeps running away, so I don't know where he's going. So
He had to leave.
leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. audible on the fly. Let me turn this a little bit more so we can see the whiteboard. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about mark roundings, as I've struggled to figure out how we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more mark roundings, and then we're going to kind of open up the floor for questions, rules, or strategy, and any of that. So let's start with, but again, let's have that speaker. Open this a little bit.
If you want, we could just open it up to somebody just wants to talk about stuff.
Yeah, let's just do that, because I'm not prepared to talk about mark roundings. So, does anyone have any? Let me make sure that the Zoom speakers are on. Hold on.
I don't have that connected to that speaker, so.
That's right. That speaker should be fine. Are we getting feedback? I don't think so. Okay, good. Okay, so we're just going to open it up for questions or topics that people want to talk about. Anyone, rules-wise, tactics-wise, strategy? Dustin's joining us. We're going to say hi, Dustin.
Hey, Dustin!
So yeah, we're just going to open it up for questions. Anyone have any questions about rules, strategy, racing? Anyone?
What's the best rule to know?
The best rule to know, probably to avoid contacts at all times.
What?
When in doubt, avoid the other ropes.
Unless it's Juan Solo.
Oh, of course, yeah.
What is a PHRF stand for?
PHRF, let's see if I can remember this. Performance Handicap Rating, PHRF.
And the app.
Performance Handicap Racing Fleet, I think, is that. Because it's technically a class, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So us people can race against the professionals and maybe win.
There you go. I like that. Hey, you never know.
It's based on your boat, not your skipper.
Yes, yeah. Basically, boat size, wavelength, all that fun stuff. Sail, your biggest
So it's
sail.
not just the sail.
No, there's a whole formula.
We're
Yeah.
about to get rated, so I was curious.
Yeah, Shannon knows that a lot better than I do. I think there's a base rating for your hull, and then your sails adjusts that rating up or down.
And it depends how much you pay your raider.
Oh yeah, they are very open to bribes. So, yeah.
That explains why I got such a bad rating last year.
My first rating off for the Star was like 132, and then I would talk to Shannon like, all right, I'm going to actually pay for this rating now, and it's like magically 160. I'm like, what happened here? I gained 30 seconds a mile, so that's fun.
Juan Solo got one new sail
And you're screwed.
last year,
Yeah, last summer.
and it changed our rating
Yep.
just from one sail.
3 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Right? We went
Because it was
down
a little
to 228.
Yep.
Than the other one.
And I mean,
because they
just.
cut it wrong.
Right?
Yeah, just.
But I mean, we were right on the edge, I think, and then we went just over.
Well, it was because here the San Juan 24s run 231, but in Seattle the San Juan 24s run 228. So we ordered up a sail for the one design. They sent it to us, and it didn't fit our boat, so we got it fixed, and then our rating changed to 228. So, yeah.
So the PHRF fleet is actually a localized fleet. There is an organization up here in the Northwest, PHRF Northwest, amazingly so, because the ratings that you get for the type of boat you have and the kind of sails you have is kind of dependent on the average mystical weather phenomena in this area. So if you took your boat and went to San Francisco, you could very likely have a different rating because their winds are different, and a heavier boat goes faster, a lighter boat lays on its ear the whole time. So it moves around. I think there's a half a dozen or maybe more PHRF areas. A couple of them on the East Coast, Block Island, Chesapeake, Florida, San Diego, San Francisco, Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and it can be big. Like I think the San Juans in New England are like 219 or something like that.
Yeah.
Now there's not a lot, right? But I mean, it can be. I've seen as big as like 30-second differences between fleets. So yeah.
What is all that mean?
So
You have to have a
That's it.
pilot
When you say
that
like 218,
calculates
for
it.
example, what does that mean?
okay, so
That's a great
great question. So and again, this is where people should correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong. For distance races around here, the difference between your ratings is seconds per mile. So
Per mile?
so if someone's rated 100 and another boat's rated 98, and they're racing a mile, the boat that's rated 98 owes 2 seconds to the boat rated 100. So you do that for your whole fleet. For our buoy races, we use time on time, so it's a little bit different, but it typically works out to seconds every 10 minutes of race
10
time.
miles. 10 miles.
10 minutes, right?
No, miles.
It's
Time on time is minutes. Yeah.
It's a ratio, and it depends on when the first boat finishes. So it's a ratio on your speed capability compared to the guy who just finished. So if you had all the same number of boats and you finished a set course in an hour as opposed to 2.5 hours, all those times would be a little bit different because it's kind of a weird formula.
Yeah,
you need a computer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You need some advanced.
It's a bunch of math that we let Byron do.
Yes.
And we trust him implicitly.
We do.
The soft basic calculus is 10 or a second. It's seconds per 10 minutes for the race.
What's considered like a middle of the road rating?
I think 100 is the base rating. I could be wrong about that, but I think 100 is considered like your middle boat.
Race
in
around
the
Whitby,
spectrum.
we had a -7 we raced.
Yeah, there's some
last
big boats
year.
that are in the minuses. Yeah, and then I think a
So
San
your-
Juan without a spinnaker is 256 or something
Your
like
Pearson 30 is going to be in the 200 range, I'm guessing. At least the high 180s, 200.
Yeah.
Okay.
200.
When you get it rated.
So it's ideal to be lower though, yeah?
No, higher.
that. Well, so if your number is closer to 0, you're faster.
Gotcha.
Or you're
But
supposed
people,
to be faster.
but you would then owe people time. So if you have the biggest number in your fleet, everyone owes you time. So any boat you beat on the
Because we're
water.
garbage, so that'll help.
Yeah. So if you have a bigger number than the person that you beat across the line, you beat them regardless of how
So
much you
Chad's
beat them by.
boat's supposed to be 6 seconds faster than my boat.
6 seconds.
Because I'm
Slower.
222,
Yeah.
you're 228.
We're 220. Yeah, so we're supposed to be 6 seconds
6
slower.
seconds.
Slower.
Yeah.
Slower than you.
Slower.
You're
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, you're supposed to be faster.
So those clock times are for just, okay, something else I wasn't quite 100% sure on. Start time is for everybody, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why positioning is so damn important.
Yep.
So just because you get your nose over the line after whatever, you're not going to get those seconds back.
No. Yeah,
It
you
should have been better.
when the horn hits, the clock
That's
starts.
when you're
Yeah.
okay.
Even if
Okay.
everyone's 5 minutes late, it starts when that gun goes off.
And that's
Okay.
99% of races that we'll do is what just got described.
Yeah.
The only race that we do differently in this area often is the Toby's Run.
Mhm.
And that's where the boats are spaced out based on their rating. So the slowest boat gets to start first, and the fastest boat starts last, so that by the time you get to your destination, you're all getting there
Should be
about
around
the same time.
Should
Yeah.
be.
If only the wind played
Which-
every time.
Yeah.
Which allows us to have the sprint race to Toby's be a fair part of the race.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I'm gonna
Go for it.
Because
No.
before I felt like we were on specific subjects and I felt awkward about asking questions that didn't have anything to do with the subject.
Ask
but
away.
you left me open, so I'm just gonna keep asking questions.
Do it.
go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's something like commonly on like, especially like the longer term races like Brown Whitby and all that kind of stuff, that you wish you had and you're already out there, you're like, crap, I really wish we had brought X with us.
That's a
Beef
great
jerky.
question.
Food.
Yeah.
Rob.
I'll open that up to everyone. I think that. Great question.
Warm clothing.
Warm.
and
So
cushions.
I would bring.
Chains of clothing.
We try to bring a pair of socks for every like 6 hours, because fresh socks in the middle of the night is amazing.
That's
and-
true. It's crazy.
And every once in a while, your boots aren't as waterproof as you think they are, or you were 20 minutes late putting your waterproof shoes on, and your feet are wet, and you want to put new socks on. So that would be my thing, socks. You have something?
So for Round Whitby, since that was the question you asked, the organization PHRF, they have an ancillary group that is, I don't even remember the initials, but they deal with safety. And besides these things that are comfort level wise, I'm pretty sure within the racing rules for around, because you're out in the big water, there is a list of safety items that you're required to carry. I think most of it requires lifelines.
Yep.
Certainly it requires probably flares and all
Yeah.
the normal throwable
I kept checking it, they
devices.
haven't updated their site.
It
since last
most
year.
likely
so-
requires jack lines
Yeah.
when we're sailing at night. So there's a list of those things that will be available before you do that particular race. Just our normal races here, you just have to have a Coast Guard specific safety, safeable mode.
So I'll say what. Let's see if I can remember. I can remember most of it. I think so. It's nav lights, backup navigation lights, which we just used our headlights as
You
our
didn't
backup
even
nav
have
lights.
lights last
Yeah,
year.
we did.
Jeez, I almost ran you over.
We did lose our nav lights for like 30 minutes in the middle, down by the ferry, which was
Almost
fun
took you
time.
out.
That was embarrassing. Just to know, I mean, because we're very safety
It's not like you have
conscious.
an
in that.
electrician. Oh wait.
Me and Chad were on watch, and we're up on the rail sailing along, just chatting. It's good wind. We're heeling over a lot, and we keep going over these waves. And for a while, you could see the light when the wave
We
hit.
kept going.
And then
"Who
all
the
of a
hell is
sudden-
this ghost boat.
The lights. I'm like, wait a second. I don't think we have lights anymore. I'm like, hey Chad, do we look behind you? Do we have nav lights? I'm like, nope, we don't have nav lights. So we dived down below.
You passed us twice, and we were really skittish.
Oh, yeah?
'cause we couldn't see that boat.
Yeah.
And we're like, tack? And we're like, I don't know. Should we?
Yeah, that was our fault. That was our
But
fault.
it took us about 3 seconds to fix. Just saying.
Yeah.
After, like, passing me twice.
Yeah.
I loved hearing you like kind of talk to Gabe and Anna who were sleeping, and then they went right back to sleep. Completely ignored the situation.
Here's one thing that I'll say that, like, for me personally, it depends on the size of your crew and the size of your boat. Like, if you're on an overnight race, whether it be Round Whidbey or maybe Northern Century one day, if you're really going to be, let's say it's not crazy blowing, like there's not so much going on that you're going to immediately have to get back on deck and be sailing, because a lot of times I've slept in my Fallies. But if you're like below decks on a Pearson 30 where you got some space, maybe you're going to be off watch for like 2 hours. Like, it's good to get out of your Fallies, right? Climb into a sleeping bag. I use these thing called Venture Wipes.
Oh yes.
It is a big old fancy, what are those called? Baby wipes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But for adults, where you can just basically give yourself a bath.
Are they like wet wipes?
Yeah, but it's like, it's
they're
better
like-
than that.
It's like a hand towel. But
Yeah.
with some cleaner in it. Yeah.
For me, like, being able to actually sleep well for an hour or an hour and a half, for me, is like kind of getting the salt off and kind of,
But
I don't
that's
know.
like an electrician compared to a plumber.
Yeah, you're right. Kind of prima donnas.
So normally we would say if you're sailing at night, if you get cold, you'll never warm up. But you just sail back in the snow, so you obviously
Yeah.
But
Once you're starting to agree, it seems like you're just locked in at that point.
There's a certain point
But-
where you just keep going.
yeah, that is true though. Like, don't get colds if you can help it. Like, put your clothes on before you
Yeah,
think
it's
you
gonna
need
be a
to put
big
your
deal
clothes
on your
on.
boat with that dang fireplace and the diesel heater.
Proper layering too.
What's
Yeah.
a jack line?
So a jack line is
Important.
A thing that
They
goes from
make
the
it-
front of your boat to the back of your boat,
Yeah,
and you
so-
can clip a lifeline to it.
yeah. So it's
harness.
a lot of different materials. It
Yeah,
has to
harness
have a
and
certain breaking rating,
I'm
but
going to
you
buy
would,
it this year.
you clip you have a harness that you clip into, and then you clip the other into your jack line.
Yeah, jackline usually is kind of in this area where it comes up and it ties here, and it's over here and it kind of ties here, so that anytime you're getting, I mean, you can do it while you're in the cockpit. If you're getting out of the cockpit onto the deck, you know, and especially if you're going up here forward for like a head sail change, you'll have a harness with a lanyard on it. You'll actually clip your lanyard into that line, and it's only tied on the on the stern and on the bow, so that that lanyard will run with you the whole length of the boat on that line, so you can move the whole length of the
So
boat
if you hit heavy weather and stuff,
Yeah.
and you fall over.
while still strapped in.
We're not
Yeah.
looking for
It's
it.
kind of like a dog leash on a clothesline. You clip there and
So
you.
about how long are those lanyards usually?
6 feet.
Yeah,
Oh.
about 6 feet. Yeah.
You can
So,
wash
well, and they have
wash
different-
under the light.
They have a ton of different ones.
I don't know why we can't hear you.
One of ours
Do you want to
had
see?
At least you're not.
at West Marine, there's a single that's
Wait,
6
can you-
feet, and then
you
a
can't-
I don't know.
Can you
Oh,
hear us?
chats. I don't know. He's got chats on. We can't hear him though. Can you
Oh,
repeat the
question.
questions? Oh, okay.
to a pool bag or whatever.
Yeah, gotcha.
We just need to give the
Just,
microphone.
we'll give the speaker the microphone. Yeah.
Here, should we?
Because
Do you want to
yeah,
stand
let's
over
spin the
there and
camera. Yeah, that's a good one. Here, I can. We'll go like this. Plug this in on the other side.
do something like that?
All the crazy people.
Because all the people are
Hello,
over there.
everybody out there.
Here, can I see that for a second?
Hey, Dave.
I'm just gonna turn the volume.
Did you buy a boat yet?
I don't know why they can't.
You have a
Why
down
there's no
payment.
sound coming out.
Come on, Dave. I sent you an inflatable boat that
I
backs
saw
up in a
that.
bag.
I saw that.
I got a
Connected
Hobie.
to this.
I got a Hobie.
are? My laptop automatically connected. So if you Bluetooth.
That's Dave's excuse for not having a boat out there.
Yeah, he's not. I see his lips
One,
moving.
two. Check 1, 2.
It's inflatable.
Oh, my bad. This is my fault.
You didn't see that?
Jeff's unmuted or something?
I had the wrong output selected.
How about now?
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, so the list for Round Whidbey kind of requirements should be on the Round Whidbey webpage on Oak Harbor Yacht Club website. So I would recommend that you look at that now and start preparing. Some things like that are hard to get are like harnesses, get your jack line ready, get your boat ready. You might have to have a backup, like we said, nav lights, that type of stuff. Don't get surprised by it. There is some other things that are floating around that other people can share with you, like a radar deflector and that type of stuff. I know the docking bay for one extra stuff. See what you're missing and see if you can kind of fill out your boat list. So that's my recommendation. Get on that soon.
Should we just tell him that we can't?
Dave, we're losing you a
You're
little bit.
stuttering, buddy.
Yeah, I've checked that site a number of times, and they still. I mean, I guess the old stuff's probably still good.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time they really changed a lot of
I'll
things.
use the old info then, yeah.
Okay, it's not a.
So I would, yeah, I think
The
that,
next question is what kind of emergency stuff to have on board would be a good idea.
yeah, so just asking about emergency stuff to have on board. And we,
Like patch kits or whatever, I don't know.
yeah, so we carry Chad, what's in our first aid kit that is out? Do we have anything super out there? Or is it pretty basic stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty basic. I don't know of anything that's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I've got a little first aid kit, but
They
I
got a
mean, like in terms of
$99
like,
one that can take care of
I mean,
it.
don't they make like sail patch kits?
Oh, like
and,
a sail. Yeah,
Well,
I
I heard
mean,
there's like some goop that you can literally just like kind of smash into the side of your hole. If it's like in a hole in it, it'll temporarily take care of it in the meantime.
yeah, they
Or
might.
the diver was telling us about it. Who was diving over a boat?
Oh,
Was
you
that-
talking about a hole in your boat?
Yeah.
Like if.
So-
you're
He
in
said
a
it was some kind of
race-
goop.
So
and it
you
activates
were-
on salt water, and he goes, you just smack it in there, and it takes the job for you until you can get it back in.
Yeah, you either go to Port Townsend or Everett
So-
as fast as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think you're ahead of the game if you're thinking about stuff like
Oh,
that.
I come on, contingency on contingency. That's the military teaches.
That's
you,
fair.
man.
That's fair.
So-
I think that
Full send.
I
Let's
think
go.
that preparing for holes
Alright,
in your
Evan.
boat is probably a little bit too
Over the
much for
top?
this race. I
Okay,
mean, again, do
fair
what you're
enough.
comfortable with. But for sales, I might just buy a roll of sail tape.
Yeah.
They sell it at a lot of, at
West
almost
Marine.
all the, West Marine, all those stores like that.
Or
It's
duct
not,
It's $10 a
Duct
Yeah.
tape works.
Duct
yeah,
tape
or
will
if
fix
it's duct tape.
anything.
It's not a perfect fix, but
I
it'll
used to use
get
duct
you
tape.
through the
I got
race.
yelled at for using duct tape. I was like, use electrical
No,
tape for
no,
everything.
no.
Don't use duct tape. You
Well,
told me that.
So duct tape,
No.
duct tape
I
does
think
leave
I
residue
use it
you have to
for
deal with, but
Okay.
so don't use duct tape on your spinnaker though, because that'll tear your spinnaker when you're done.
We already have the tapes we need.
But
We've got sales tape.
Okay, well we have stuff.
yeah, see, always good to have a little
I'm
bit of
just
sail
asking
tape.
questions. That's what
That
I'm
was
what
my
we're here
fault.
for, right?
Oh no, that was mine. Hold on.
It was me.
The laptop things too.
Yeah.
Because that was.
Oh,
Oh, I
so
see what you're
If
saying.
you're
Yeah, yeah,
interested
yeah, yeah.
in actual legalities, and legalities pretty much cover the basic safety stuff. The Deception Pass Power Squadron has.
Oh, we're part of them. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There are several people within that squadron that'll come and give you. It's essentially the Coast Guard Auxiliary Safety Inspection.
Oh.
They'll go through your boat. They'll check things to make sure you've got the don't dump oil in the water.
I think the last time our boat
Back
went,
up the
maybe
flares.
we-
They check the dates of your flares.
Yeah,
They'll
I
check
talked to
Fire
Jim-
extinguisher.
plunge kits.
I
Fire
asked Jim
extinguisher.
Wagner about it. They said they weren't committing them right now because of COVID reasons. So I
Oh,
don't know if they
that's
started
great.
back up again or not. I can talk to him, I guess, and ask him.
Well,
I'd imagine
if
a lot
nothing
of
else, they
start
could
up.
give you the checklist.
Yeah,
Just
oh,
ask
yeah,
them for the
absolutely.
checklist, and then just go down charts, rules of the road, regulations, navigation, stuff like that. I mean, it's may or may not be safety stuff, but it's good to know.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, always have the information.
Yeah.
Yeah, always good to have paper chart backups for everything. But I would, we don't always carry. I think we have a paper chart for the area, but I don't know if we always carry it
Well,
on our
you gotta-
races.
Overnight.
Oh, do we?
Long
Okay.
distance, yeah.
They can give you the plastic covered
I know.
ones, so
Okay.
they-
Take that.
and I have them for all over.
Yeah, that's what I was
so
gonna
when
ask
they go
next
out,
is-
I always keep those, so my clock.
In the event avionics fails or, Russia
Yeah.
knocks our satellites out and we can't use
Yeah.
so.
But
That's
nav-
too soon, too soon.
Navionics is great though. If anyone doesn't have that and is going to do a distance race, the subscription is worth it.
Oh, yeah, it's like $5 a year or something.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
super cheap.
I'll also throw out.
Navionics, it's 100.
I'll also throw out.
$15, but depending on the region.
Yeah, if you just get the U.S. region or the West Coast or whatever the
that's
smaller one is,
Pair it
it's
with
like
my
$20.
Kramer.
Yeah, maybe to pair it with a bigger device, it is. Yeah.
There's also a device called Bad Elf, and it looks like a stopwatch, but it's actually a GPS receiver that you can Bluetooth to your iPad to increase your Navionics accuracy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
called
that.
Bad Elf. I just opened up my Round Whidbey debrief lessons learned list.
Woo.
Here, I'll give you the mic.
I've got that written down.
That's only got a couple. They can probably hear me too because I'm yelling.
What? Huh?
Let's see. So our list here says, make sure you have a watch schedule and adhere to it so that everyone does get rest, rather than a rave at 2 a.m.
I remember
For
that. last
everyone.
year.
You can rave at 2 a.m. as long as people go to bed.
As long as there's a rest period. I have bring paper towels next time.
Okay.
So those come in handy. We ate MREs, but we didn't have a measuring cup, so we just put in hot water. But we put in the wrong amount of hot water, so it was mostly just like an omelet soup. So I have an ounce measuring cup that we brought for our MREs because we're on a San Juan 24 without a lasagna oven.
Yeah.
Larry.
I was saying, we had lasagna and
Just
garlic
swing
bread.
by.
I know.
With warm brownies.
Yeah,
brownies.
Don't think we don't talk about you.
When Ben and Anna are posting pictures of their dinner, we see that.
Yeah, no,
It
we
hurts
know
our soul.
exactly what's going on.
We got a full oven now.
I mean, part of this for us is because we're on a San Juan 24, so a lot of like pre-make food, or put food in small packages so we can kind of grab it and eat it. Because obviously it depends on the weather. Because one time I was on Ricochet, and it was daytime the first day. We were on the west side of Whidbey, and there was no wind. So he fired up the grill, and we had like kebabs. So that was nice. But I've been on Juan Solo when it was blowing, and you could barely find a time to chew on anything. So it was like half a Pop-Tart. So
Beef jerky.
yeah.
Yeah, bring quick snacks that you can eat that aren't just cookies. As good as cookies are if you're
My
really
wife
working
said
hard
I
for
have
20
to
hours.
sleep.
And hydration is important. I will say also you kind of have to remember, and when it's hot, it's easy to remember to drink water. But if it's kind of if it's a chillier race, you don't get hot, it's easy to forget to drink water. So that's important as well. I think it's most of that list. I'll look for my other list. I have like 5 of them.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'd say another thing to add, especially if it's like the round we had last year where it's really sunny and hot, sun protection is big. Sunblock often.
That's one thing I
We started
And
off
then-
in fog.
Please, well, but
Yeah.
it got hot. It got hot.
That's why I got a baseball cap.
And then wear sunglasses. I highly recommend it. When I was like 12 or 13, I was out doing race week, really sunny, windy day, and I got what felt like a sunburn on my eyes. And it lasted for like a week. And I have had migraine issues since then. And I went to my doctor, and apparently I scratched both my corneas with the sun and the sand and the salt in the air. So that is there forever now. So don't mess with the sun. The sun wins every time. So
Quickly deployable anchor.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and easily
Well,
to
quickly is a matter of perspective, I guess. At least faster than the guy next to you that's going down.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially on the inside of the islands, the boat that goes backwards is the slowest. Wins.
Yeah.
We had that happen.
Yeah, because every mile you go backwards, you have to resail. So that's really slow.
I'll also say that if you do anchor and you're sitting there, like there's no wind, there's no waves, you're literally just sitting there, that's probably one of the better times to put your phone in a floating case, because it might fall off the boat when you're doing nothing.
We were all hanging out on the boat, just relaxing, music playing. Chad's sitting up on the mast. I don't know, we might have sent an email or something.
I was talking to my wife.
Yes.
I was literally like, oh yeah, honey, no, we're just, I don't know if I was like changing hands or something,
I
but.
think you stood up.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I was like trying to stand up and
Wireless headphones.
it went mid-conversation.
Oh, and it was just the great, because you just see Chad, we just look, we hear the sound, and then we look forward, and Chad's just standing like this, like frozen in space. And we're like, well, that's.
Did you watch the little lighted screen go down? And then
Yeah. Find my phone was right there. I mean, it was active for like a week. I knew right where my phone was at.
Set a diver, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Had it been any shallower, that might have been worth it.
Yeah.
So speaking of anchoring around Whidbey, once you pass possession point, you do not have many options to anchor, and that's usually when the current will be at its worst. So word to the wise, if you're looking at the possession point buoy and it's racing ahead of you, you might want to throw your anchor for just a moment or two. Otherwise, it's gonna beat you definitely on a ebb flow. So it's really deep beyond that. So if you look at map, study those maps, the depths as you go is a big tip around with you.
It's just too deep.
Yeah. Yeah. So know where you can anchor. That's why Navionics is great. It'll tell you where it's shallow enough to anchor. Know how deep water you can anchor it to. Like know how much anchor line you have. And then another good thing to know is get currents and tide information from a number of different points, because the tide at Paulnell Point is significantly different than the tide at Deception Pass. So, and they happen at different times. So you have to know. Oh, I think Zoom just died. Hopefully it comes back. So just be aware of that your currents are going to be different at different points by maybe an hour or two. Yeah. So it's good to have just a chart somewhere. We printed out currents for every hour of the race at a bunch of different points and just put it in our spinnaker bag. Because that's got a window there, so we can look at it and know we're right about where we were and when the currents are happening.
The Wi-Fi bill.
Are you back, Zoom?
Yeah, I think we need to get you on the I wonder if the yacht club has a bigger bandwidth on not
I
their
wonder
guest
how
network.
long it took them to figure out that.
We lost you for a second. Zoom, are you back?
Oh,
Yeah, they're back.
All right, they're back.
I was going to talk about that's upside down lasagna.
Oh yeah.
I'm good at upside down cakes.
Yeah, he took it to Anacortes.
Oh, hold on.
Are you guys back?
We're back.
Yes, we're here. We're back. Can you hear us? Okay, cool.
I think your Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy. I'm recording this and I'll throw it up on wherever, on YouTube afterwards. So we'll have a recording.
And I just have
Oh, you don't want to take the batteries out.
burger.
Oh yeah, that's the low one.
I'm on a diet.
Anything else we should cover? Any
Oh
other-
yeah. Well, actually, that was a good question. What
Yeah.
would you suggest, or the group suggest? Because I got your answer, but everybody on manning this. I'm comfortable manning before something like that.
Comfortable crew or would be the question.
Double handing is
Double
not
handing,
comfortable.
yes, double handing is not
It's
fun.
doable, but
So-
not comfortable.
I don't know. Me and Gabe double-handed Northern Century once, and it was.
But you and Gabe are crazy.
That's true. And at the time, it was probably like, why am I doing this? But now it's like, yeah, it's fine.
And then we get the story of Gabe trying to drive the boat without a tether in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was sleeping, and I'm like, why does it's, and I stick my head up, and I'm like, Gabe, what are you doing? He's jibing the spinnaker by himself at night.
Not tied in, right? Or was he tapping?
He
Oh.
probably was, but still, the whole
I got
event
something.
was-
So a lot of us are.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of us are more experienced, 2-3 years of racing in the club and whatnot.
2 or 3 years.
I always want to go back to this moniker of there's no stupid question.
Yes.
Agreed.
Don't assume that the person asking you is pulling your leg. Because I legit asked last year, how do I know when the race starts?
That was our fault.
And I got laughed at.
I apologize. We thought
Yeah,
so Everett
I
Everett
actually
was
had you finger your speaker.
so Everett was wrapped it up with one solo at Cornet Bay or talking, chatting, and at one point he's like, "Hey, so how do you know when the race starts?" And we were at that point getting ready to go out for dinner or leave for the night or something. And we just laughed and then walked away, assuming he was joking and that we'd see him later.
And he
And he
only
just
showed
sitting
up
there like,
45
well, I guess I'll
minutes
figure
later.
it out on the water. And then the next morning, like 40 minutes after the start, we hear Everett on the radio. Hey, when does the second? When are we starting? I felt so bad.
Race committee's like, it started.
Yeah, race committee's like off and at home having breakfast.
But this can never happen again because there is no one in the future or in the past that's gonna buy a boat and then be like, yeah, my first race will be around Whidbey.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna do that.
How do you know?
So
that was great. So back to the original question
Yeah.
on comfortable crewing for one of these races.
4 minimum.
I think 4 is on a boat under 30 feet. 4 is pretty
Pretty
comfortable.
comfortable. Okay, you're not crowding each other, but you're also helping people get the job done.
Yeah, and it makes watches really easy. You have 2
Minimum.
on, 2 off
Minimum.
in the dark.
Yeah, you gotta have, that's an absolute minimum. For Gadzooks, that isn't quite enough if you're trying to do spinnaker work.
You
Yeah,
pretty
and
much
spin-
need
spinnaker can-
twice as many people as it takes to minimally sail your boat.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So if you can sail with 2, you can go with 4.
Yeah.
If you need 3 to sail because you have those fancy sails and stuff, then you probably need more
You
than.
don't have a spinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have all the
You should have 6 to
electronics, you
7.
can do 1.
yeah.
Just like you're working on my newsletter, right?
Yeah. I'll get back to both of you.
I think on a 30-foot boat, if you can, like 5 or 6, if,
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask next, but I wasn't quite sure if that would crowd.
Yeah,
honestly,
well,
but-
so it
It's up to your
depends on
boat.
what you can
Okay.
sleep comfortably, and then double that number. It's
Yeah.
like
Hot
your
rod.
comfortable max, right?
Okay,
So
so that's
what
like
they
6.
say
We can
is-
sleep,
So if
we
you
can sleep like 3 or 4
so
comfortably.
if you can sleep 3 comfortably, you can carry 6 pretty comfortably.
Yeah,
Because you go 3
so
So
on,
what
3
they
off.
say
Like
is
that,
if there's 6 people that sleep on your boat, that's as many people as you can have on your boat to race in the bigger races.
Yeah,
They,
but-
they go by how many people can sleep,
'Cause you
how
don't-
many people you need.
Because you don't want to max out. And again, so for smaller boats, you can race your buoy racing crew pretty comfortably. If you're on and again, this race isn't super long, right? But if you're ever doing like a 3 or 4 day race on a 40-foot boat, you wouldn't take 12 people because that's just
Well,
too
it's
much,
blowing 30.
right? Yeah, and you might want it at times, right? You might want it at times, but yeah, if you can comfortably sleep 3, then I would try to take 6. You could do less, and if you're ever in the middle of the night and you don't have enough people on your spinnaker,
You wake them up.
you either wake them up or you
Come on.
because it's only a weekend race, right? You're done on Sunday, so it's not like you're killing your crew on a week-long distance race. You can
And the last thing,
suffer through 2 hours of sleep.
Caffeine's a hell of a
Every
drug,
once in a
right?
while,
I mean-
yeah.
don't ever take somebody who says they have a lot of experience and you don't know. Because you want to throw
That kind of
them
bit
off
you,
the boat.
didn't it?
Yeah, you want to have a pretty clear who is in charge hierarchy.
Yeah.
Well,
Because-
no, you want to know who's on your boat and what they know before
Yeah,
you
well,
get
that's
them on your
that's
boat.
true too. But in the middle of the night, when things get a little hairy, you don't want there to be any competing ideas on who we're listening to
Oh,
at
yeah.
this
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, that
Absolutely.
needs to be pretty set in stone. And that can change, right? Every watch is going to have someone different.
Yeah.
So you might be in charge for 2 hours, and then you might not be in charge for the next 2 hours. So you just
Right.
need to understand the roles, and that's something that's set up when you're setting up your watch schedule and all that. But yeah, I like this. Good questions, everyone.
Yeah, actually.
Um,
These are great, by the way. Thank you for this discussion, Steve.
yeah, this is good.
Absolutely. Actually, I would have asked this earlier, but I felt like all of them were like projected on certain things, and I didn't want to divvy the conversation.
Yeah, that's
No,
why I
it's
wanted
good.
to kind of have this meeting right before we got going, so that
Yeah.
this is really our last chance to talk about. I mean, we can always talk
Yeah.
informally, right? But we're gonna start racing in a week or two, so it's good to get all these out in the open.
Then you're
Well, once
gonna
you-
start lying to me, right? And then,
Oh yeah. Once St. Patrick's Day
Once you know
starts,
the
it's
race-
all
Yeah, you
lies.
sit with the anchor down
Yeah.
the whole time. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
You have to run a sea anchor after sunset. That's just the rule.
We're not moving.
If it's a sea anchor and the current's going the right way.
Yeah, that could help out. That could help out.
Thing about that race, the
marker
current
there.
is never
Hey,
going
John,
back.
Yeah, we should talk about that in a minute. Yeah. Dave, you
I
got
have a
something?
question for Johnny. You guys first again.
We can kind of hear you.
Hey, Johnny. Okay. Is Suva gonna do Round Whitby this year?
I hope so.
Okay.
Okay.
They need a crew of 22.
Yeah. Speaking of crew.
For each watch.
Yeah, right. 50 people minimum to run that boat.
You have to be dressed in era specific clothing too. When
Yeah,
you're
there we
running
go.
and all that, or-
We'll give you, we'll give you
Sailors
5
Club.
seconds a mile if you dress up era appropriately.
But they're gonna need 10 minutes a mile.
Yeah.
So another outlier, Round Whitby, I don't think requires it, but if you do Round County later in November, they require a stipulation to the numbering rules. You're supposed to have your sail numbers attached to your lifeline on either side of the boat, or at least on the island side of the boat,
One side.
because you're always turning one direction.
Yep.
So if you don't have, a piece of, plexiglass or blue tarp or white tarp or whatever with your numbers written on it, you ought to think about that a couple days ahead of time.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to look for before you need it.
And Humphreys makes those.
Yeah, sail numbers and a strap piece of sail worked out great.
Oh, you can see us now.
Oh, yeah, are you doing the bottom
I
of the
realized all
boat?
these
Paint cans
paint
the
cans
whole
might be
time.
annoyed a little bit.
That's bottom paint, isn't it?
No, that's covered stuff. That's unboat related.
Uh-huh.
As far as you know. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, Round Whitby or
I
otherwise?
cannot wait to finish that race. I'll tell you that. It's been 3 years.
I haven't finished it. Yeah.
Oh.
It took us 3 years to finish it.
I'm going on my third.
First time.
Hopefully
First
this
time.
year. Let's get
What's happening this year?
Let's get a 10 knot westerly the whole week.
Southerly.
We're paddling it.
Southerly after
When it shuts off
midnight.
at possession.
I don't
After
even
you
know
get
the
around
first
it.
drag should cover. I just learned that just now. Unless you're R2.
Oh, and stay away from the
Oh yes, please.
the boats.
Please. The Zoom dropped out again.
Colin was like,
Please stay out of the shipping lanes when there are barges and boats coming through.
That was you.
Because
completely.
it actually wasn't him. It was a different.
We were
We
just
thought
talking
it was, but it wasn't.
like-
So please.
I was nowhere near those boats.
Yeah, you
please.
were.
Talk
We
to
watched you.
Steve about this. He
It
really
wasn't-
wants to hear this.
I haven't.
But you started the
Go
first
ahead.
call.
What?
Guaranteed.
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Hey, dog. He did. I mean, I don't know.
I
what-
watched it. And I
No, it wasn't
It
me.
doesn't matter.
I know who it was.
Ship.
So there are.
Are shipping lines identified by like Navionics or?
They are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are navionics, but the best way to know is when there's a giant barge coming up the middle of the channel, you don't get between the barge and where it's going. Because that
No.
is really bad for
don't
everybody involved.
Don't cut between the barge and the tug either.
No, yes. Dave got a phone call in the middle of Round Whitby last year and called us.
Our course.
That was
The Coast Guard?
the fucking ship.
so I guess the pilot in the ship
Yeah.
looked up the race and called Dave on his cell phone
Oh.
at some softball game or whatever he was doing. And then Dave called us and was like,
A
hey,
mile away.
let the fleet know to not do what they just did.
Right.
So, yeah, don't get in the way of those boats. They have the right of way
Every
all the time.
And the ferries have the right of way.
Yes, that's
I
true.
I figured it was like on the street. Like you let the semi truck do what he wants to. He's way bigger than you.
Yeah,
so,
the law of tonnage applies.
Yeah.
That's why I drive a 350.
And if you hear 5 horn blasts, you done stepped
Yeah.
in it already.
And another good reminder is you can use your motor to get out of the way of danger, as long as it doesn't improve your position.
As long as you
So-
go right
So
or left.
don't go further around the island. When you motor motor out of the channel.
Whoops!
Stop your motor.
Yeah.
And then you do have to let race committee know so that they know how long your motor was on. But that's
Oh, that was something we talked about before. I just want to confirm that as well. That for something like that, we were talking about, and I think we said it was okay. Someone mentioned it was that you can run the motor in turn in neutral to keep your batteries charged to keep your stuff online.
yes,
Yeah,
you
as
can
long
do
As long as you're not
Don't
using it
gear.
for in gear, you're
that. As long as it's
okay.
not in gear.
Okay.
So there's a radio frequency in the inside of Puget Sound. I
Yeah,
believe
in
it's
fact, a lot of times in the middle of the night, you hear the bigger boats with their nice comfy motor running, sporting all their battery ops and their everything. You can hear them before you see them.
Yeah, Larry's baking his cookies.
A margarita maker?
So in your coastal pilots or whatever navigation publication you have for the area, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that in the Salish Sea area inside of Port Townsend, the frequency is 5, which gets you Seattle traffic. They're the guys basically like the air controllers anywhere else. If you were in Admiralty somewhere or Saratoga or up in Roche, if you called Seattle traffic on Channel 5 and said, hey, I'm crossing the shipping lanes at Bird Rock from west to east, they'll come back and say, okay, well, we have a cargo carrier that just left Port Townsend going this way, and they'll be there in 20 minutes, and we got a freight carrier coming. They will tell you the traffic, all the commercial traffic they're
On
aware
Channel
of,
5?
which is everybody.
Oh, that's
So
great.
then you just have to watch out for them.
Okay.
Don't get in their way.
Like calling air traffic control across. the
Air
road,
traffic
so
control, yeah.
Because
It's
they will
Seattle
find
traffic.
you.
They'll give you the heads up. Hey, this is coming
Yep.
through.
Just
so
talk to them and they'll say, okay, where are
Okay.
you? And what do you,
Awesome.
who do you want to know about?
Oh, that's great. I had no idea. That's good. Good tip.
Which is
Sounds
also a good reason to have your radio on 16,
Yes.
which is the standard emergency
Which-
frequency.
which
If they
is-
really get PO'd at you, they'll come up on 16.
Yeah, which
and
is
realize-
required, by the way.
It's good to
If you
have
have to
2
monitor
radios
channel
on
16.
your boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they tell you about a boat coming or a ferry coming, and you think you know where he is, you can call that guy on, he'll tell you what the name of the boat is. You probably. You can come up and say, hey, is that you that I see way over here? I think I'm gonna cross you, or I'm gonna turn around and go the other way, so don't worry about me, I'll be out of your way. And if you have that bridge-to-bridge communication with those guys, it'll make them feel a lot better, because they won't run over you.
Yeah.
Jack.
I'm going to say this because I didn't learn it until a couple years in, or learn how to do it, but most VHFs have a dual watch feature.
Yep.
So we often operate like maybe on channel 68 or like channel 72, just intership communication or race committee communication. Your VHF has a dual watch function where it monitors both channels, both channel 16 and whatever your other channel is you're using, 68. And when any one of those signals, like if somebody starts talking on a channel, your VHF will stop on that channel so that you can hear what's being said. And
Can
then
you show me how to do that?
Sure. Yeah. You could probably Google search your particular VHF. Yeah. But yeah, it took me like a couple years. Because straight up, we had 2 radios, and I'm like, there's gotta be, like, this is 2020. Like, there's gotta be a thing. So
Yeah,
You're
Yeah.
like, oh, there's the
There's a
there's,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
a button.
Yeah.
So the 2 common safety channels though are 16 and 9.
Yes.
And a lot of the radios, like ours on our new boat that we just got, we've got it set where it actually scans 16, 9, and 72, or whichever one we program, and then we hit scan, and 16 and 9 are the other 2.
Yeah. There's also
automatically.
So I have another dumb question attached to this.
Quit calling it that.
No dumb
I
questions.
know, right? Well, all my questions are dumb. You asked me.
No.
How does it, like, let's say someone's already speaking on, for example, 72. How does it know it's 16? It will do that. It'll kick it over.
Well, so that's a good question.
I think it's probably whichever one is active. So if somebody is talking on 72, it will stay on 72 until that
Until they
mic
hang up.
is no longer keyed.
So it's probably a good idea, like what Aaron said a minute ago, to just run 2 radios and have one just chilling on 16 the whole time.
I mean, the chances
We've got
that,
2 anyway.
They don't
so,
talk
I
that
mean,
long. When they
That's
come up
kind
and
of
talk,
belt
it's
and
only for a couple of
suspenders.
minutes.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
And if
okay.
there's an
Yeah.
emergency broadcast, that's a longer broadcast. You repeat your stuff. You repeat yourself 2 or 3. I think it's 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
So.
That's the chart with Channel 5.
Oh,
I believe
nice.
this is also a chart within Wagner's. If you have a Wagner's on your boat, I think that is one of the colored charts in there.
Could you send that to the sail fleet once they're done looking at it?
Sure.
There's also something called a priority scan. where a lot of times they'll scan every channel,
Mm.
but 16 is the priority. So if you cue your mic, it'll transmit on 16. Which is good.
I'll
There's
say
also-
like
Always a fun prank to play on your night watchman.
Yep.
yeah, like there's like fail army videos, and there's a Instagram channel called Qualified Captain that makes fun of people who do dumb boat stuff.
Yep.
Like half of the fun of being on a boat for a long time is listening what people are willing to transmit on channel 16 so that the Coast Guard yells at them and tells them to quit it.
Like the guys that tried to order rum on channel 16 because they ran out.
Like, they'll do anything like, hey Bob, you going out there to get some fish, are you, Bob? And then security, this is the U.S. Coast Guard. We ask you to stand down from all communication on channel 16.
Oh yeah, channel 16 clear for.
Yeah.
And when we made that announcement on the radio about staying out of the shipping channel, we went on the 16 and said, Whidbey Islands, around Whidbey Sail Fleet, this is whatever boat.
Mm-hmm.
We have a race transmission on 7-2. And then we switched over, waited a minute or so, and then re-announced on 7-2 what we were trying to say. Because you don't make announcements or communicate on 16 unless you're synced.
Unless it's an emergency of some sort.
But you can use that channel to gather your group and move channels.
It's a hailing channel.
Yeah.
You can say, Pearl Jam, this is Juan Solo, channel 72. Flip over, and you're like,
I realized something similar when at work. There's an open channel for everybody, and you say, switch up, and you go to a different channel to talk to people. Exactly. It's the same idea. Okay.
And then they come over and you wait, and then you're like, Pearl Jam Juan Solo, can you toss a piece of lasagna our way?
we know you've got a little RC boat on that thing. Just drive it over.
Little trebuchet, flip it, do something.
You forgot.
So, hardly a motion picture.
Sorry, Zoom. We keep
Stop motion.
We keep dropping you. Sorry. The Wi-Fi.
We're having fun entertaining each other.
The Wi-Fi at the yacht club is not.
Okay, every
the
time you guys
best.
pop off,
No, it's good.
we start chatting.
They make fun of him for taking notes.
I'm not making fun of you.
No, it's awesome.
You see this man?
Yeah,
This is my race partner. Like, look at this
Maybe you can
man.
turn off your
He's a bit of a
video.
bully. He's a bit of a bully.
Good job.
Hey, Bert.
Is it okay to just nail somebody in the back of the head while they're sleeping?
Yes,
Hey,
they
what
have
happens-
to
what-
stay aboard.
What happens? They do have to finish.
Stays on the
Yeah,
boat.
exactly.
Just wait till he turns over to the side. Just
Whoever starts the race has to finish the race.
That's correct.
I mean, unless there's an injury, you can lose someone for injury.
That's
I shouldn't say that. That's
As long as they're on the boat,
It's true. It's true.
Doesn't matter.
they don't necessarily have to be breathing. They just have to be on the boat.
can we lock the door?
All right. Any other thoughts, questions, comments?
This was honestly one
This
of
is
my
awesome.
favorites. I really appreciated that conversation a lot.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any more, we don't have to be done. Let's keep talking. We've
Sorry.
got
Race around Whidbey's really fun until the last 2 hours. Then it gets aggravating if you don't finish.
Actually, I will say something about Round Whidbey. It happened to
And then
me.
you
It's
come in
still
here.
it's still kind of embarrassing, but it's honest. My very first
I don't
Round
know.
Whidbey, we
But it's probably going to be with Sean and the kid.
Airfare is stinking cheap for Alaska.
my very first Round Whidbey, we finished. We got it back to the dock about 2:00 in the afternoon, maybe 1:00. Sunny day, beautiful. I mean, it was my very first kind of big sailing event. I mean, I was just high on life. It was the coolest thing I'd ever experienced. Like, it was never gonna get better than that moment.
You were so up.
I was
you
so
left.
like I was just like, yeah. I could like we were on the dock high fiving, seeing like, yeah, like I just sailed around Cape Horn, you know. So I live on the south end of Whidbey, so I'm driving south on the highway. You know, it's about an hour's drive to my house from here, and I'm just cruising. I mean, I'm just like, oh man, blue sky. I love blue sky. I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, headed home, and I was thinking about the whole thing. Next thing I know, I drove off the road, off of an embankment toward a telephone pole, missed the telephone pole, like ended up kind of on a pathway. I drove through a road sign that had karate chopped the top of my truck. Like, honestly, I fell asleep at the wheel. I wasn't nodding. I don't remember being tired at all. So now what I do as an agreement with my wife, because she still lets me sail, is after Round Whidbey and after Northern Century, I don't leave the marina. I've borrowed somebody's boat to sleep in. Last year it was super hot last year, so I climbed into my truck and I let it run in the parking lot with the air conditioning on. Steve Hookie said he came to the marina parking lot like 3 times to check on me because he's like, what's, and so Mickey was like, don't wake him up, just let him sleep. So I'm just saying that to be cognizant of, because as much as I said try to get rest, you might get very little on an overnight race.
Mostly.
There's a lot of adrenaline on the race, I imagine. So.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard to figure out how to sleep on a boat underway, especially if it's blowing at all.
Yep.
Especially if you're tacking a lot.
Like on Ricochet. Tacking.
Yeah, like that honestly is part of our.
You're welcome to come to our couch.
Thank you, I appreciate. Yeah, and people have offered. Thank you, and the Hookies are like, we have the trailer, but a lot of what our
We have a boat trailer.
Yeah, right. A lot of our prep for overnight racing is starting to become more like, how do we sleep? Can we put a lee cloth in, or do we hang a hammock low center of gravity so we're not?
What's a lee cloth?
Oh, thanks.
I don't know.
So
Sorry,
a
I
lee
don't
cloth
know.
basically just keeps your things where you put them, right?
Okay.
It's kind of like a
Cargo
net. Yeah, most of them are
Attached to the
just a
bottom of
netting
your
material.
settee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you pull it up and it's sail
All right, here
cloth
we go
and you
again.
tie it up.
I'm sorry, what's a settee?
Couch.
Bench.
Sofa.
Couch.
Got it.
Wherever you
Okay.
kind of sit. So the places that you like would
See, you gotta
sleep.
ask these questions. She doesn't know them either. So she's
In
not
your
asking.
salon.
Yeah, in the salon.
So something,
Just past your companionway.
so something we're looking at on one
cockpit.
solo to kind of fix some of these problems is putting our gear up on the settee where the bed normally would go, and putting a lee cloth in, and then putting our bed on the floor of the boat. So you're getting your weight as low as you can, and it's tighter there, so you're not rolling around as much.
So you
when
know
you're
those
when the
truck
boat moves.
You kill yourself trying that on Pearl Jam.
you know those
Yeah.
do you know those truck bed covers, like the spider web ones?
Yeah.
We're hanging them underneath, and we put all of our stuff up there, and
Oh.
it folds it really
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
and it keeps it center of gravity. So
Yeah.
and you got places to move to.
I just realized I gotta ask this. This is my stupid question, but no joke.
Your goal.
Is your king size bed on Pearl Jam gimbaled?
No. No, you just have to roll back and forth.
You got to go up to the 50-foot version to get.
Yeah, to get the
It's not
gimbal.
quite there yet.
Yeah.
It's on magnets.
Do you guys
can get the
have you guys
awesome
ever
gimbal
taken a
water bed.
shower during Round Whidbey?
No. Before and after.
Yeah.
Not during.
Not during.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that long of a race.
Movies,
You know,
movies
And we
have
don't
been
roll
watched
that
though, I'm
much.
pretty sure.
I've got restrictions from the admiral that if you roll too far, the dishes fall out of the
Oh, so you
the
just
tops
He
of the
broke
settee.
them one
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
He broke
I'm not
them
allowed
one
to break
year.
the dishes anymore.
okay. Reduce
more
the
than
sail
a 10-degree
area.
roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So he hits his automatic.
So that's why we have,
flattener.
automatic
Yeah.
transmission.
I'm just wondering, what would the PHRF be on a 10-foot dinghy? Because I've got a sail.
So it's really funny.
$9.99.
So it's funny you should say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because
there isn't.
because at one point, so yeah, there are rules about who can actually get a PHRF rating, because your boat has to be self-righting to get a PHRF, which eliminates all dinghies. However, there is a dinghy handicap, called
Portsmouth yardstick.
and there is a conversion rate between the yardstick and PHRF. So in theory, you could race a dinghy against keelboats, but almost all NORs disqualify non-self-rescue boats. Safety hazards.
Slash,
So
you will sometimes see Hobies. Ben come out in a Hobie and I don't know, be like a mosquito within our sail fleet. Kind of like.
well, we had lasers would do that a lot too.
Yeah.
The high schoolers would get a laser off.
Yeah.
But a Hobie does not sink. It's self.
But it does
It
no
does
capsize.
flip upside down,
So,
it's right.
so if your masthead can touch the water and the boat will not get the masthead off of the water without you doing anything, Well, I mean, we might have to release a sale or something.
There's a lot of boats.
Wait, when does that happen? Like it happens? Like
Yeah, it could. I mean, dinghies happens all the time,
well,
right?
yeah,
It-
imagine, but
but that's the big difference, right? It should never happen in our boats.
Yeah,
Unless there's a
I
big
think they were
storm.
trying, but
Yeah.
he did it in 4 knots of wind on the Toby's run.
Yeah,
He
he did.
capsized that thing. I got pictures of it.
Apparently he didn't. Apparently that wasn't actually on purpose. But it was just them not paying attention, and things kind of got sideways.
Going for a line
So-
and didn't get it.
I was told, and I need somebody else to confirm this, but I was told in that event of getting so much wind that you are just heeled beyond the capability of what you believe your sailboat should be doing. At some point, you're basically pushed so far over that the wind is going over the top of the sail rather than through the sail, creating the lift and thrust. So it can only push you so far over, basically.
Well, then the
A
keel
monohull.
eventually.
Yes.
A monohull.
Yeah.
The
keel
keel
boat.
boats that we sail.
Yeah, and then eventually your keel will spin you up into the wind,
Yeah.
and that self-rescuing maneuver, which is nice.
And then you're on
it's
a
not
reach.
it's not a pleasant experience to end up head to wind, but
And
you
all
know,
the dishes fall on the floor.
it's better than the alternative. So.
Oh,
That's-
cute dishes on a sailboat. That sounds nice.
There's ones at Walmart that are plastic, but it's just thick plastic,
Yeah,
and they're
those-
2
those
for
are-
$1.
That's what he
They're actually-
brought.
Oh,
Okay?
that's cute. You have space
They
to put
still
dishes
break.
on a boat. That sounds nice.
You've got space on a San Juan 24.
We should
I've
give
seen
like
them.
a
Hey,
bonus
with enough
minute
Velcro, you got space
to
for
anyone that
anything,
can keep
so,
a glass plate in one piece at the end of the race.
Oh,
That would be a
right.
kind of a fun
Slash
bonus.
dangerous to be if it didn't go right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm
If-
on a
if it
J24,
got over so
and
many
I
knots.
have dishes.
Okay, that's fair. Poor me.
J24 is a lot meatier than a sandwich.
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
It's a brick. He's racing a brick, okay?
Anybody can race that J24 anytime they want. Just
Oh,
saying.
yes.
Come out, crew, have fun.
Just as a side note for Zoom, we're getting 0.26 megabits per second download.
Oh,
So-
so that's probably why you can't hear us very well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go no on the Zoom.
I think maybe my hotspot might be faster next time. We'll try that. We'll try that next week.
I got a little light fast. But
Somebody remember to feed the squirrels?
What's
No.
wrong?
Yeah, they're taking a nap right now. They're not spinning the Wi-Fi.
Where's Lucky?
Hanging out waiting for his next chunk of meat. This is not going to happen.
Is it dial-up? Is that what the internet
It
is
feels
here?
like it, right? You know, it's strange because sometimes it's great. Like
Hmm.
I've done classes in here before, and it's been
well, the
fine.
guy was. I don't think the guy was tired. There right now, he's like.
Yeah, his arms hanging
He's
down a
got
little
this.
bit.
So, new sail fleet captain, you have anything exciting coming up for the new race season,
No.
Frostbite series, and everything coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Like
What's the plan?
What makes you
Better
different?
than
many
Dave.
What makes me
Different than Dave.
You know, whoa! Slow
Whoa.
it up. This is first year. He's just trying to make sure this still
I'm
goes.
still, I am a little bit
not
trying to survive.
No, Yeah.
I'm saying
There.
we got
He's
another
not
guy.
trying to reinvent.
Hey,
No.
we've got so we are
I didn't say better. I said different.
Yeah.
He's
so
a sail team
we
captain.
have opened. We have made our schedule slightly less crowded this year by taking the Thursday night race off the day before Would-Be Classic. So we won't be racing Thursday night before Would-Be Classic,
I'm bummed out about that.
which just helps us.
Are you?
And
Oh, yeah.
I see, you know,
We'll
there's
get another
arguments.
race week out of it, otherwise.
There's arguments for both, but the our thought is it's good to have us here to help welcome the boats in. I'll be just getting back from a clinic. I'll be coaching in Oregon, so that's kind of tough for me to make anyways. I know a lot of people are going to be setting up here. And if some people are getting off work early to go to that race, it might be harder for them to race that weekend if they have to just juggle 2 days in that same time period. Would-Be Classic should be expanding this year. We're getting some fleets that might be bringing one design classes down. The J70s from Orcas Island sound like they're coming down to do a one design race with us. I'm in talks with the other J fleets a little bit about getting a one design fleet for them too. Next year might be a bigger year for the J boats here, but still we're working on expanding that.
Did you buy a
yeah.
J-boat?
I did not. Maybe someday.
I got one for
Yeah.
sale.
Do you need help with like getting
Right.
the word out and whatnot, or how does the payment? I mean, you may be the lead, but we can help out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Any help, reach out to anyone that you think is interested. I've sent emails to all the fleets, to a lot of the fleets, and I've been trying to push that way. But if you all know anyone in other fleets, if you all are going to races, or if you all are going to races, or if you want to just reach out,
Follow
you know?
on solo all year.
Yeah, I like that.
I
That's
think
why
I
that's
can
here.
get crew down here, but
So-
I don't know anybody outside of in terms of other boats. But
that's fair.
you said we need that, right? We need more crew.
We can always
Yeah.
have more crew.
Like
Yeah.
every time, well, like Dennis,
No.
he was talking to Gabe like on the fence line last week,
What's
and
gonna
Gabe
be
was
happening
like, "Come on
before
up."
it?
So Dennis is here to be crew this season. Every time I hear somebody talk about sailing, like on Facebook, Whidbey Island community, if anything about boats
You
or
live
sailing,
on that channel, don't you?
you know, I
Advertising.
advertising. Yeah. But anyway, I often am telling people, you know, hey, come on up to Oak Harbor on Thursday nights. You know, that's what I did. I showed
So,
up, and here I
We're
stayed.
actually thinking about reaching out to MWR on base.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
Putting together a program.
getting more sailors like as a program. So we're talking like 5, 10, 15.
It would be a sign up thing, obviously.
Brand
so we're
new
not just,
recruits.
We don't just show up and not.
But we
never
would-
go.
Yeah.
We need to know like who's got space so that we can say, hey, we can have 5 sailors this week and have a sign up sheet or something like that. But it's something that we're working on together, being that we're both still active and on base
Yeah.
through MWR to get sailors
That's awesome.
sailing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to say this actually. That was a great question. What are you doing, Sean? Tell me about what's happening this year. I am in the. I lose words. I'm getting old. I am
Huh?
behind the curtain with Sean, if you will, like watching what he's doing in the background, and he's doing a lot. Like the fact that he has contacts and is talking J-boat fleets to show up at Whisker, that changes the whole trajectory of the Whidbey Summer Classic. You start things like that, and so Sean's been doing really amazing things. We do talk a lot. I do encourage him, but he's doing a lot in the background to further everything we're doing here, to be connected to the yacht club more, to you know, Thursday nights, and of course being the coach for the youth sailing team and integrating them coming out of dinghies, getting them onto keel boats. So I do want to sing Sean's praises, as this is his first year. It's a lot. It's a fire hose, and he's doing a great job with it. And I think in the long run,
We appreciate you.
It makes me appreciate Dave a little more.
Yeah.
Dave was doing all this. And,
now
that's
I
what
can
that
tell
is
you
here
the
in
So-
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Dave's gonna go get an inflatable catamaran though, so
yeah, right.
Sounds fun. Sounds really fun.
You got
So you
that-
guys should kick off this year because it's the 17th of March with a theme. Everybody should be wearing green and maybe score it like the Fall Follies. You know, the
Who
best
said
team
that
wins
last
and,
week?
and wins a cake or a pie or something.
You did, yeah.
Green eggs and ham.
Yeah, Dave. Last week, that's what Hannah said we were doing, is wearing green, and we all had to, or we'd be in trouble. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, she's got it in
in
mind.
like 6 months.
Nice.
So
Different handles.
Oh.
One solo's got
I
it.
would check to be sure it's not. It's over there.
And Larry was a sail fleet captain for a while too, and you did something fun that you had us take pictures or something. We had to, it was like a scavenger hunt. We had to take certain pictures along the way, certain perspectives to get points too.
Like round
So
Whidbey?
No, it was in lieu of the frostbite. It was basically the I think it was a Mardi Gras thing, wasn't it, Dave? So it was like in
Oh, that's
February.
right,
It was
Mardi
like
Gras.
a couple weeks ago. So just get
Yeah.
people on the water, sail around the course, but in order to get points, you had to take a picture of R12 with the windmill in the background, or take a picture of this aspect, or you had to go, because everyone has iPhones, so they had to mail all the pictures to the judge.
Yeah. Nice. I like that.
I like that. We do encourage everyone this year for Round Whidbey. We're going to try to make a video at the end, and we want everyone to take videos and maybe do some kind of fun midnight parties thing. Just get lots of fun.
Everybody but Ricochet. We can do without Ricochet's video.
No, that does bring up the point.
You were talking about
Ricochet does it with no clothes. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
So
just wondering if
that's a good. That's
Only
a good
if
one.
it's
That's a good
hot.
one.
I
He's
do have-
always hot. Come on.
Hold up.
So there's one more event that I think it's on Sean's calendar. It's also on the cruise fleet calendar over here. So the yacht club has a cruise fleet and the sail fleet. Sean is sail. You guys are sail fleet. Cruise fleet are all the big guys with diesel boats. They go places. I have talked them into. Frequently, we don't get much sailboat involvement in the cruise fleet functions, but the week before Scott Klein, I think it's the 23rd of September.
Yeah, so it'd be a couple weeks because we're moving it back a week for Scott Klein. So
Oh, okay.
but there'll be a couple weeks, but that's not a
Okay,
big
anyway,
deal.
I think it's the 23rd of September, September. It's R2 to Ala.
Okay.
It's a pursuit race, which is kind of like the Toby thing. It won't be an exact pursuit. We'll probably have 2 starts at half an hour apart, but it's 12.9 miles from R2 to Ala Spit, which if you do it on your ratings, a difference of 100 rating in 12 miles is, do the math, that's like a half an hour. So everyone's going. We'll stop you and time you at Ala, and then you're about 20 minutes from Cornet Bay. The cruise fleet is going to Cornet Bay. As many sailboats participate is going to go to Cornet Bay, take advantage of the brand new docks up there, which are awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have 10 or 12 sailboats as well as a half a dozen or 10 power boats all together on the same dock. And Saturday, after that, you can do what you want. Stay all day Saturday, come home Sunday, come home Saturday, do whatever you want.
There'll be dinner.
Cracking.
Rainbow onesies and streaking.
Yeah, I highly
Dinner
encourage.
Friday night.
So initially the
and
idea
they
was
allow
a cruisers,
rafting there.
a cruisers race, so you couldn't do it unless you were towing your dinghy.
Right.
But if we can all get to the dock on Cornet Bay, you don't need a dinghy, so you can still tow it if you want. But
They have a bridge now from that outer dock because it's
the inner
metal,
dock.
so you
Oh,
don't
nice.
have to have a dinghy.
That's great.
They have good
Wow.
showers and restrooms there.
It's weird. I saw the picture of the new dock and everything, and I'm like,
Awesome.
this is amazing. But now I'm old school that I've been on that old wooden rickety dock.
That was about as rickety as
It's
last
Bare,
shot.
like one person was on it,
Yeah.
and then you got 2 on it.
We're gonna be in 5 years. We'll be like, you guys, you new people don't understand.
Young
the dangers
whippersnappers.
of round Whitby. The most dangerous part around Whitby was the docks at Cornet Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you step on a board and it hits you in the face.
Yeah.
So I highly encourage everyone to do that race. We'll have more information about
And
that.
South would be
Probably-
second close.
Probably in the summer, we'll have more information about some of the details on that. Yeah.
Night sailing.
Yeah, so night sail. So we were, Juan Solo was chatting a while ago. I had read some article about distance racing, and they brought up a good point that you should practice in the dark before you race in the dark, so that you know how to sail in the dark. So sometime
Steve, flashlights,
Yeah.
multiple with batteries,
and red lights.
red lens.
It doesn't break your night vision to have the red light.
And
So
re-
I have a recommendation.
White
I have a
light
I have a
will help
recommendation
you.
for that.
What's that, Dave?
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
So I have a recommendation. We started the whole San Juan 24 started this thing called Viking races, and it's basically the race out to R2 and back. And we did that specifically at night, and that really sharpened our skills. And so all it takes is 2 boats to kind of constitute a race, and it could be ad hoc and say, hey, who wants to do a night race? And you get 3 or 4 boats go out there and you do a quick run out to R2 and back, and it really challenges you because as you're coming back, you're trying to read and you're trying to decipher the street lights and the traffic lights from the blinky lights, and it really gets you kind of really honed in really well on how to read the water and the lighting
Get you
and
trusted
light
instruments,
discipline
too.
on the way in.
Brown lumpy things, yeah.
So yeah, so Juan Solo is thinking about, so that round Whitby's the 7th and 8th of May this year, the first full weekend of May.
Mother's Day
So
weekend.
it's back on Mother's Day weekend. I apologize. Most of that was Thai, and some of that was the only off weekend in like championship dinghy sailing season that I was free to do a race. But
You're not married yet.
so we're going to at some point on a Thursday, probably in April, we're going to do Thursday night racing, and then come in and have dinner, and then go back out and sail. So we're already here, we're already together. So we'll maybe pick a Thursday or 2, and set that up so that we can get some night sailing practice. I
Great
encourage
idea.
everyone to do that, to join us for that, whether we do a race or if we just go out and sail. I think it's really important for your first time sailing in the dark to not be when you're racing around ferries, around type boats.
It's gonna be
all that fun stuff.
It's gonna be April 14th that we do that.
All right, I like it.
Because I'm out of town the other 2 weeks.
I just remember around Whidbey last year being my first time doing a lot of things. A lot of firsts last year around Whidbey. Sailing at night, racing in general.
Racing.
But
how many times did you sailed before Round Whidbey? Just
12.
12.
I can show you every track.
1,200?
No, just 12. And never more than like 2.5 hours.
Oh, dude.
So Round Whidbey was equal hours maybe to your previous.
Round Whidbey more than doubled my total sailing hours.
Wow.
Have you ever considered being my spirit animal?
Yeah.
Sure. What wisdom are you asking for?
I don't know.
Bravery.
Yeah.
I got bravery and luck and spades.
Hey, it's good that those go hand in hand, right? If you're gonna be brave, you should have some luck to come along.
You can count us in on the 14th. We'll be there for that night, so if nobody else is here, we'll take some.
Okay,
All right.
cool. Let's throw it on the calendar now, April 14th.
Yeah.
We won't spend a ton of time at the club. We'll do dinner and scores quickly and then go back out and go sailing.
It depends on Byron.
Yeah. Well, in worst case, for scores.
Yeah,
Wait, for
just do a
scores. So,
non-scored race.
worst case
Go.
scenario.
He can
No,
post
he's
them
quick.
on
Yeah,
your
worst
honor,
case,
right?
worst case, he posts them, and we hear the next day. All right, so yeah, we'll do April 14th. That sounds great. Get
Yeah, but
calendar.
the scariest
In my
time of
calendar.
my sailing career so far has been race around
Some
Whidbey.
good sailing right before you get screwed
The
by the
first
IRS,
year I
right?
did it. The whole time I was like,
Hey, Sean, another thing we might be able to do to help expedite that is to grab Byron's gear and stow it for him, so he doesn't have to put everything away.
Yeah, that's good.
Help speed it.
Actually, that's a
Start
good
his own
point.
man swagger up here instead of putting stuff away.
we should do that for him every week for him.
We should probably create some type of organization
A
for
duty bill, a watch bill.
I know that it helped Byron out quite a bit when we got his gear to the dock for him. They were often like, "Oh, we'll just take it back."
I got that.
You got it?
I'm off work most days and here way before everybody
Okay,
else.
so we'll get together. I'll get you the code. This
Yeah.
is the new sailing shed. You've got the new sailing shed code?
You can
All right.
find any
Changing the
We
code.
might need to change that code. That code's been the same since I was like. That code's been the same since I was like 12 years old. So it might be time to shift that a little bit. Okay, so that works. That problem solved.
No, my dad's just that good.
Yeah.
He just guessed it. He's seen me type it in from like a half mile away.
I don't even know.
You know the code.
I do.
Don't say it out loud.
I won't.
Not that I would trust all.
One,
I
one,
remember
one,
that.
one.
I remember that it means something.
It's a
It's
secret.
a specific. Yeah. Anyway.
What was this for? What did you call it?
Race around
To
Whidbey.
get the marks for Ryan.
Oh,
So,
I can help out with that too. So we can definitely make sure it's not just one or two people.
Yeah, and I that's the point. Is I think we should spread the love, and I think this is going to go into deep psychology of groups, but it helps bond all of us to know that we're all doing our part.
Yeah.
So as much as each one of us often is like, oh, I'll do it, it helps the greater good if everybody has an opportunity to do something. So oftentimes it's more of a benefit to step back to allow somebody else to experience the joy of helping.
Yeah. And it's
Sorry.
Allow someone
Sorry, I
to
didn't-
experience the
I like
joy
it.
of helping.
I
That is
didn't
the-
mean to get so deep.
That was the nicest thing voluntold I've ever heard.
I didn't know you were Buddha.
So I'm just gonna stand over here and let you guys take care of it. You're welcome.
Okay, that's
Chad, if you need a job, you can hold my beer.
Thank you for helping.
If you're planning on racing and for some reason not all your crew shows up or something, you might check with Byron and see if he needs someone to go out with him. Because a lot of times he's by himself.
Yeah.
He pays for his own gas for the boat to go out and in, and I mean, And he
And-
won't ask, I'll tell you that, he won't ask.
And the race course looks entirely different from the committee boat.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the things that you think you're doing on the line and this and that, the other thing, if you're standing on a committee boat and watching it, you'll go, why is he doing that?
That might be one of the
To
best.
make you ask that
Yep.
question.
That might be one of the
He's the one
best
doing it. He's the one
educations.
doing it.
The best education you could have is likely not only on the race committee boat to watch, but the fact that you get to then have a conversation with Byron.
Oh, yeah.
Like to say, what was that? And Byron would love to tell you, that guy's an idiot with nicer words.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you know,
you'd be
I
like-
probably wouldn't have gone about it that
talking
way.
about
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think this was probably the better
Yeah,
starting strategy
like,
for that
yeah.
situation. But
He should
yeah.
not have tried to start on a port tack. That
It
obviously
is-
doesn't make
I would
sense.
love
Like,
to hear
it
what he
is
has to
But
a.
when it works, it's amazing.
I know, but if you can do it.
So I recommend everyone try to get on
Hey, when you were doing
a race
this,
committee of any kind, really. Like all the race committees I've run for high school races, it's just such a different view, and you understand the geography of this, especially the start area, where you might think you're okay, and like, why does this start never work? It looks so great until about 20 seconds to go, and then you're on race committee, and you're like, oh, because you are nowhere near where you think you are when you're on your boat, right? And then Byron, if you get on his race committee, that's even better. He's the best. He's the best in the area. I'm fully convinced.
Yeah, we
really
we're very fortunate to have Byron. Yeah,
We don't know how lucky we are.
yeah.
We're gonna find out someday when he decides to retire.
Yeah.
I feel like every year for the past 5 years, it's been like, oh, he's
Taking
coming
over.
back. Okay.
At some
taking over?
At some point, we need to start thinking about the 10-year race committee plan,
Yeah.
because I think that at any point Byron decides not to do this anymore, that is, we all should applaud
It's
him
you, right?
on his way
You
out.
taking it
So,
after that? Yeah? No?
That's where I think that education helps, because I could start seeing a rotating race committee
yeah.
where everybody takes their own
Yeah,
boat out
so-
and
The only problem with that is that that's a lot of people don't show up for their, that then you have to get a really good, and again,
You learn
You have to
rabbit
get
What?
start.
But there's the
So-
joy of helping.
rabbit starts.
Starts.
You can do rabbit starts.
As bad as it sounds, that's how the J24 fleet down at Lake Washington does it. They have a rotating race
Yep.
committee.
Oh.
And you sail out your J24, you set up the course, and your boat is the committee boat
Yeah.
for that one.
I also think that that's another reason that we should try to attend some cruise fleet things.
Okay.
Do that race to Cornet Bay, that's a big one. But if you're free any of these weekends, go cruising.
We're already on that, by the way. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
If
Because
you want to join, like, let me
if
know.
we, join cruise fleet, that's a great thing to do. But if we can find some cruise fleet people that aren't necessarily interested in racing, but might have a boat that they'd be willing to do race committee on in a few years, that's an option. Because that's how I know a lot of fleets have a retired racer who has a power boat, kind of like Byron.
The dark side.
Yes, exactly. They go over to the dark side, but then they help us out a little bit with the race committee. So I think that that's another option. And again, we're acting like Byron's not our race. He's still a race committee. Like,
Yeah.
we still have a race committee, but we have to start thinking in the future for those contingency plans.
Yeah, what's Braveheart
Now, the
doing, right?
rabbit starts, sometimes if you were the race committee, you
Throwing
got a
barnacles.
first place. because you were the-
Yeah, so a lot of times if you're, you get like a bye for that race, which is a first or a second or something like that. And then you can do rabbit starts, which is fun. I've never done a rabbit start, but basically, if I remember right, you have all your boats hanging out over here, and then a boat coming on port tack, close hauled, and the starboard tack boats duck this boat and get up to close hauled. And when every boat's ducked, this boat tacks, and it'll be like this-ish. And once this boat gets on the close haul on starboard, the race starts. And then you do your normal race.
Oh.
So that's
Wow, that's interesting.
option. It's
What?
It's hard with
I like
hard
the
with
chicken
different
see.
size
Couldn't
boats,
see.
right? Like it'd be hard for
They can't see.
I tried to look around the corner, but.
You gotta look in the backside of your monitor.
I'll do this again. I forgot that we had people that weren't here. So this is mostly done for smaller boats or one design fleets, boats that are the same. But you'll have your whole fleet over here, just luffing, hanging out, waiting, and one boat on port coming up close hauled. And these boats, as this boat goes by, will duck. You want to get as close as you can because this is the start line, right? This boat, and come up to close hauled. As this boat goes, we're all getting up to close hauled. So these boats should be roughly even. And then once the last boat's ducked, the boat that's on port tacks over to starboard.
And takes all their wind.
And then the race starts. And sometimes that happens. There's a slight advantage to being that fleet boat. So a lot of times you'll rotate that. If there's an 8-boat fleet, your goal should be to race 8 paces over the series.
Can we just pick
so
the
that everyone...
smallest sail plan for that particular position?
Yeah.
Hey, stop picking on me.
So that's, hopefully that is not how we have to go, because that is tricky for keelboats that are, if Larry's the rabbit and we're all smaller boats trying to, we'll be in some trouble. Right. So, all right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
I think this is good.
Anything to
This was a great
talk about?
night.
Yeah, this was awesome.
I got so many notes. Thank you, everybody that helped me. Appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
More time so
Thank
we
you.
can get pictures.
All right. If no one has any more questions, I think we'll call it a night for the talking phase. Feel free to hang out and talk amongst each other. And next week is. Hang out with me.
One more thing.
Larry's got one more thing.
This
All right.
doesn't have necessarily anything to do with sailing, but the sail fleet is supported by the yacht. I'm a member of the yacht club, but I'm no longer on the bridge of the yacht club. But sail fleet is supported by the yacht club. They provide money for Byron to drive his boat out and back. They buy all the marks that go in the water. They buy all the anchors and the line that goes on the boat that Byron takes to the water. And the members of the yacht club take care of that. So I guess the ultimate request would be, if you're not a member of the yacht club, please consider joining. If not, when you come here and enjoy their hospitality, they make money off the bar. They make money off the burgers. So please participate and tip the bartender heavily.
Hey!
Thanks, Shelley.
I can't believe he just called her heavily. I thought her name was Shelly.
Yeah, I have really good hearing.
That was for you, Shelley.
Huh?
All right. So,
Yeah, hey Larry, give Shelly $5 for me.
Yeah. Hey, we're in Maui next February. We'll come catch up on it.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
You're buying dinner.
all right.
All right.
Thank you all. Next Thursday, the 10th, is our last non-racing Thursday until October. So, well, we have one off in July.
Yeah.
But so next week we'll have registration paperwork, a couple copies of the NOR we can look at. We'll talk details.
Yeah,
We'll
when
talk
are we
all
doing
that.
the reg pack for the race and the annual races? Is that up
Well,
for purchasing now or?
You
I'll
said
talk to
you'd have
Shelly.
it last
I have the
week.
prices. I just haven't talked to Shelly yet. So I'll talk to her now and see if we can do that. Packets will be available. Paper copies will be available next week.
I'm just
So
happy to pay it to get it out of the way.
yeah, I'll talk to Shelly now once I sign off. But so next Thursday, skippers meeting, basically big long skippers meeting for the series, and then St. Patrick's Day we're racing.
Nice.
So
All right.
we're almost there, guys.
Yeah.
Off season's almost over.
Can't wait till we get back to it.
All right, thanks everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Bye Zoom.
So I'm with Byron on Saturday, next Saturday. On the committee vote. His vote's only, he's taking it.